Alright guys, what we have today is front half of a unit to a 6HP19, and we're going to be installing some bushings throughout, the front half of the unit. The rear stator bushing has already been done. I actually did this for them the other day, and then they called me up and they says, hey, can you mind just putting the rest of the bushings in to ensure that everything will be good instead of just doing the one. So I said, yeah, no problem. So they brought me the balance of the bushing kit and the front half of the unit. So we're going to be installing, this is the A drum. There's two bushings here, and we're going to be removing this planet. We'll talk about that. The E clutch hub, which is this, and this is the A clutch hub. We'll be installing two bushings here, and these rides like that. And then the B, you got one here which is very difficult to come out. You got to be careful not to damage anything, and one on this side here. And also on the E clutch, there's the little one in here that keeps the hub center. So we got to chop all these things out very carefully not to ruin anything, and we'll get working on it. All right, so let me zoom in on this, and we'll get going on it. Okay. All right. So real quick, this is the rear stator bushing, and this is critical for E clutch oil. Okay. So as the bushing wears, these sealing rings are going to leak, and you will have gear monitoring codes in the higher gears like 4th, 5th, and 6th. So this is pretty good here. This is a nice and nice fit, and it's not too tight. The drum spins, comes right out. So that actually is good. I mean, this is fairly simple to do. Knock the old one out. I actually like to press the new one in. I mean, I have a little bushing hardware here that I use, but I don't know, this particular bushing, in my opinion, tends to get like a little distorted. So I just like to press these in. Okay, now I guess we can work on the A clutch. Okay, so we got to get this planet out, and on the 6HP26 there is a snap ring that you have to collapse and pull this planet out. On the 6HP19 there are 6 tabs around that we're going to bend back, and then this whole planet is going to lift out with no resistance at all. Okay, so I have my screwdriver here, and let me just use my light to find the tabs. Okay, also what I do before I start, before I'm going to lift the planet out, I like to put things back the way they came out. So I take a scribe and I mark it. You won't be able to see it, but I mark the planet, and I mark the piece, the pieces, so everything gets put back the same way. Not that it really matters, but that's just the way that I like to do it. Okay, so we want to bend these. There's 6 tabs again. We want to bend these back. Alright. I think I got one more. Nope, it all should be good. Alright, so this should lift out, no resistance at all. Okay. Here is the planet. Some gear into there. Okay, so what I do actually is I like mark, would mark the planet here with a scratch mark, and then, mark this section here with a scratch mark and kind of put everything back together the way it came out. So actually I didn't bend one tab back, but this thing came right out. I probably lifted it out more of an angle. All right, so we're going to knock these bushings out. And then we'll knock the new ones in. Okay. Now I find the 19s are a little more tricky to do than the 26. 26s are pretty easy. Alright, so let's see if we can just get this one out. Alright, that's good. There's one. And the other one, let's see if we can hit it down. Okay, so it came straight down. You know, it's right here. I just used my little bushing remover tool and hit it straight down. And okay. So we're going to knock the larger bushing in. I got to get a different bushing driver for that. Okay. Let me just get a different bushing driver for that. Get a larger one. Alright, and I'm going to knock this bushing in, I'm going to try it, and then I'll knock the other one in, and we're going to try that one. Okay, that goes flush. Okay, now I'm going to bring the pump back. I'm going to take all these little things off of the pump, take the rings off, just to make sure that it sits okay. And then we'll put everything back together. Alright, so let's see how this fits. Alright, that fits pretty good. Alright, it's a nice, pretty snug fit. Alright, so now we're going to knock this bushing in. Try to find a certain bushing driver. Give me 1 second. Okay. All right, so what I did is I have my bushing driver, okay, and it fits perfectly in here. So I'm going to knock the bushing in from this side, and then it's going to stop when it hits the bushing driver underneath, because I think this has to stick up just a hair. And I have another one that I'm going to put on top. I have another I'm going to put there, so it's kind of going to sit just like that. And then here's my bushing. Okay, and then very gently. That bottoms out. Yeah, I guess it's kind of flush, but I like doing it. I do the 6HP19s this way too. Okay, so let's see how that works. It's a nice fit. Very nice fit. Okay, comes right off. Okay, so this is the A clutch. And of course the stator has been done. All right. Now here is the A clutch hub. We have 2 bushings that we're going to do. This one, it could be a little bit of a problem as well. But let's see how it goes. And the bushings here are two different sizes also. And I like to make sure the bushing's going to fit where it's going to go. Okay. So the first one we'll do is this one, which is the smaller one. Simple, it comes right off. Okay, so that was this one. Right, this one's too big, yes. Okay. Alright, so you know I have my other little small bushing kit here, bushing driver kit. And I may have to countersink that bushing a little bit, but let's knock it down and see what we got. These bushings tend to go in a little tight, and like I said, they distort easy. Okay, now I want to countersink that a little bit because the old one was. So let's find. Okay, that's good. Nice, spins nice. Okay, now this one, this has a bearing. Let's try to snap this bearing out. Okay, that's this. And of course, when you put this back together, you see this has a lip on it. All right, so you want to knock the bushing down far enough where it is not going to hit this lip and it's going to keep this up. So you have to kind of be very careful with that. You got to kind of look at it. I put the bushing on, the bearing on a couple of times, make sure. Okay. So let's knock this one out. And I kind of just like to take a look on about how far I should knock this down. See, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this inside this cylinder here, and I'm seeing like a loophole. All right. You're not really going to be able to see this, but I kind of look inside here with a flashlight, and there's the loophole. Actually, it's, if you can see this, it's this one right here, and of course you don't want to block that, knocking the bushing down too far. So you really got to pay attention to what's going on and how far this bushing needs to go down. It needs to go down so far that it doesn't hit this slip, but not that far to block that loophole. So it's, you know, kind of critical that you pay close attention. Try to find where the bushing splits, so it makes it come out that much easier. You kind of just look where it meets, if you kind of have the eye for that. Okay, so we'll knock the other one in. Let me just turn my lights on here. They keep shutting off on me. All right, so we'll knock that one in. Okay, now this one, I'm going to use just flush right now, but let's see how this thing sits. Okay, that's good. Okay. Now, we've got to countersink it. It's only so far. Let's find the bushing driver for that. Okay, you can't find really an exact one, but you gotta find the one that fits the best. All right, let's try this one first. All right, so I want to get that loophole. Okay, so I got to see how far this is going to go down. Okay, so that is it. You can see my scribe sticking out. That's the hole you don't want to block. Now we got to switch them out again. This one, no, this one not. Okay, let me just see if I could find a different driver here. I don't think. Okay, all right, I'm gonna have to go with what I got. Which one is a little smaller, which makes it more susceptible for a lip to go on this thing and it'll be a little tight. But we gotta hit it very gently. Okay, we gotta go a little more. Let's see how this is so far. So far, so good. All right, tiny bit more, and then this one should be in. Okay, I think this will be good there. That loophole is free. Okay, here's my scribe again. Loophole is free, and I'm going to snap this bearing back in and just make sure that it does sit flush. Okay, looks like we're good there. Yeah, there is a space. Pretty much right where it was. Okay, put this in, spin it, it's nice, snug, there is no play, very nice. Okay, now we have the B clutch drum. So again, if you ask me, this is probably the hardest one to do. But we'll do the top one first because that's simple. Okay, it comes right out again. I hit it right where it kind of butts together. Comes right out. Alright, it fits. Seat it a little bit. Okay. Actually, you can probably even hit this down a little bit. Let's see. Okay. We're going to countersink that just a hair. There we go. Perfect. Okay, this thing's in here, this bushing that's in here, right below it, there is a sleeve. And nothing really seals in there because this just goes through there. But I try to be careful not to scratch anything up. One time I did make a little ding in it, so I took a file and filed it out. I mean, it happens, it's okay, but what I try to do here is knock this, try to get a little lip and then maybe hit it out down from this side to try not to bottom it out. I mean, it's a little tough to do. Like I said, the 6HP26s to me are a lot easier. But all these bushings wear. Alright, so the goal is to try to hit the thing out instead of down. Which, I don't know if that's really going to happen. Let me see if I can find where this thing... Yeah, it's not that easy to see on this one. Alright, well, if I have to, I can use if I can get it loose, I can get like a slide hammer or something in there. But let's see what happens here. If I can get it moving. Alright, I also have a different one here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to actually chop the piece out. So let me try it again. Alright, I'm actually peeling the bushing away, and it's not even going near the sleeve, so I'm kind of cutting the bushing, in half, and then I should be able to lift the thing right out. So let's see, I just got a little more to go. Okay. Now, let's see if I can get this thing to move. Now, you know what I want to try? I got this thing set up. It's actually moving. It's almost out. Alright, so I kind of sliced it, you know, pretty much down as far as I can go, and then it started to turn. And that's when I knew I should be able to probably hit the thing out. So that actually worked out very nicely, and I got no damage at all. I got no damage at all in here to that little sleeve. Like I said, you know, if you Nothing seals in there, so if you do give it a ding, just have a file on hand. And now knocking this thing in. This thing, it doesn't sit on the very edge, it sits down in, so this bushing actually is going to sit in, like that. So to try to find a bushing driver, I don't think it's going to be that easy, but what I do is I keep other bushings handy that are around the same size, and I use those to knock them in. Okay, so I have this one. I'm not sure what this is to, which is pretty much the same size, so I'm going to put it on top and knock the bushing in. So that fits perfect. I'll get my driver here and start. I like to keep checking it, keep checking it. Nicely. And still got a little ways to go here. Double check this one more time. Ain't got much better than that. Alright, still gotta go a little further. And I think we are in. Tiny bit more. Okay. Look at that. This is the tough one. Okay. I'll tell you this thing, fantastic. Let me put these away. Alright, we just got one left. Alright, this is for the centering of the E clutch hub. And then we're going to put this planet stuff back, but actually the installation went very nice. Alright, so this one we want to just try to cut out. I have put this in before, and I do have movement here. This is moving back and forth, so we definitely have some wear. So this has to be changed. So I'm kind of just slicing down like I did with the other one. When you get this one out, you want to make sure that there's really nothing in here, so I will take a little air. And just kind of blow it out. Okay, if there is any pieces in here, chances are they'll come out the feed holes. Okay. So this one, I don't even know if I can put this lock on here because this might be too, yeah. Alright, so we're going to leave this off. This will go flush. Just make sure we're okay here. It's a little tight, so seat it. Very nice. And I just want to countersink this just a little bit. Let's see. Alright, now we have a bearing here that's going to snap in. And we'll try this up again. Comes right out. Okay. Alright, so pretty much the bushing kit is done. So we'll just start putting all this stuff back together again. Okay. So let's just put this these E-clutches back in here. And there goes my lights again. Give me 1 second, let me turn my lights back on. Okay. So there's that. Here is the pump. Let's put these rings back on. Spacer there. Okay, and the A clutch drum. We'll put this planet back, and then we got to bend those tabs back over. And then the bushing kit is done. So this is just put back in, line it up. Okay. And then just got to bend those tabs back over. This piece here is pretty flimsy, so you don't want to really, you know, use that as your backing to bend the tab back. if you don't really have to. I would just try to use your screwdriver and bend the tab back like that. Because if you start going, you know, kind of like that, this thing may distort, and this clutch hub, it's pretty close tolerance. You know, you don't want to have any noises when this thing is turning. All right, so I'm going to bend the tabs back, and then I'll probably just give it like a little shot to make sure they're seated. Okay, so let me get let me just get something, I'll be right back. All right, so I got like a flat punch here, and I'm just gonna give them a small shot just to make sure that they are seated. Okay, so that's good. All right, so I guess that is it for this 6HP19 bushing kit. Now, let's see how this fits. Looking good. All right, a 6HP19 bushing kit out of a BMW. And that's really about it. Again, you got to be very careful with this B clutch drum, knocking this bushing in. And you want to watch how far, you know, you have to knock this one down so far, but not too far, where it would block a lube hole on this side. So just critical stuff you really gotta pay close attention to on these. And I guess that's about it. So I thank you guys for watching this bushing kit installation, and we'll see you next one. Have a great day.